The content of today's blab, we are talking all things Facebook. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ryan Harris. I own a social media. Mitch and I work together, and we both own a social media consulting business where we help take businesses and teach you how to create more success for your business. And yesterday had a great conversation with Katie. Probably overwhelmed her. It's like drinking from a fire hose when you talk to me, right, Katie? I know a little bit too much. Mitch and I think we both feel that way sometimes. We know so much about this and we forget what people know and what they don't know. So if you will, first and foremost,
find a picture.
If you wouldn't mind just throwing in here on the right-hand side any question that you might have about Facebook. This is an open platform where we can just discuss all things Facebook and how to make money using Facebook. So if you can see on the right-hand side, there's this little chat window. Mitch and I will be chit-chatting back and forth here, answering your question. Got someone calling in here. You can also click the call. If you want to call in and ask a question live and you have access to a camera or a mic, you're welcome to do that as well. You can just click on the open seat right below Mitch and I. And okay. Mitch, do you want to take this one or do you want me to take one? Dave, great question. Dave Ridley asks, so teach me once again.
I got to show a picture first.
Demographic numbers from a similar company. Now, my assumption, Dave, with this question is you're asking about Facebook targeting, right? When you talk about running Facebook ads. Okay. So interestingly enough, welcome, Sherry. Interestingly enough, when it comes to Facebook, you can actually do some really, really cool targeting mechanisms to get your advertisement directly in front of the exact person that you want to. I mean, it's a marketing revolution. There has never been the capabilities that we have now to really execute and get those ads, get the messaging right in front of the person that you want to. And the question that Dave's asking is, okay, inside of that context, I think you can, Don, I think you can just maybe turn up the volume or close yourself out and come back in. It might help. But what Dave's asking is, okay, once I understand my target demographic, once I understand my target market, I know those things, but what if I want to go find a competitor's market just to see what the demographics are, the behaviors, the interests of those individuals, so that I can restructure my targeting mechanisms to get in front of the exact person that I want to get in touch with? Dave, is that the right question that you're asking? Okay. Mitch, my audience insight guy, teach us.
So the fastest way to do something like that is in Facebook Audience Insights. I can't share my screen, can I?
I don't think you can, but walk people through it, because this is probably the first time some of these people have ever even heard of Facebook Audience Insights.
Okay, so what you're going to do is up in the top right of Facebook, you have your little friend request icon, your little messages icon, and your little world icon, notifications icon. And over there, there's a little down arrow. And you're going to hit that down arrow and you're going to go down through all the options. And there's one option that's called Manage Ads or Create Ads. And once you get in there, it's going to pull up a freaky looking screen with a lot of different stuff about advertising. But there's another tool. There's a tools option on there just along the top. And you click on that down arrow for tools. And you're going to have like audiences and then audience insights and a bunch more tools. Just click on Audience Insights, and now you're into that section. And there are so many things you can do with this. It's kind of creepy how much people know when you can really look at this. For instance, I've been getting served an ad for home security systems, and it's like, I don't own a home, but these people know that apparently I have a good enough credit score to get a home security system. And that's one thing that they can do through Facebook advertising. So once you're in Audience Insights, then, I mean, you can type in anything. You can type in where they're from, like what country. You can type in their age, gender, and then interests is one of the options. This is where you're going to talk about your competitors. What competitor should we talk about, Ryan, and take a look at?
So let's make the assumption that Dave runs a let's make the assumption that he runs a, I don't know what kind of a business. Give me an example. Somebody give me an example. Let's do something like Katie. So let's say that Dave runs a business that's a gym, like a workout facility or a fitness studio. Perfect. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest fitness names out there that people know of? We need some
Katie,
of the big
give us
ones.
some fitness names, icons, if you will, that are influencers that you follow on social media. Tony Horton, okay. World's Gym, great. Apple, Gold's. Okay, so tell us, Mitch, what would you do?
Let's try Tony Horton. Yeah, so in interest, if you type in Tony Horton, it pops up with 4 options. So what I usually do is they're probably all talking about the same person. So I just type his name in 4 times because one of them is an exercise instructor. One of them is a public figure. It's all the same person. Maybe not the baseball person. Type in all those into the interest section. And if they're big enough, it'll pop up with the rest of their name automatically. Once you get to like Tony, H-O-R, then it pulls up the rest of his name. And so I'm looking at this right now, and you can see that his audience is 900,000 to 1 million people. You can see 59% women, 41% men. And then the really cool thing is, let's say you don't necessarily know other top fitness people. You can hit page likes, and you can say, okay, people that are like Tony Horton, they're also liking Beachbody, Carl DeKellar, P90X, Team Beachbody Coach, Official, Soggy, Kalev, Chalene Johnson, Shaun T. Those are the other pages that people are liking. And so you can do the same thing with all of those pages and pull some incredible insights. You can look at the location. What are their top cities? Fishers, Indiana, in case you wanted to know. Then a lot of people out in California. You can look at their activity on Facebook, like the number of pages they like, the number of ads they click, the number of promotions they redeem, what kind of device they use. iPhone, iPad, Apple users all the way for Tony Horton, apparently. So just a bunch of random stuff. You can also see purchases. These people most often purchase business things. You can see their household, their income level. Let's see, these people, wow, there's some high income earners that follow Tony Horton. Quite a few homeowners. So you can see all of these crazy insights and get more ideas of what you want to look at with your audience.
Yeah. So the idea behind it is simply you want to try to figure out what those interests, behaviors, and likes are, because then when you're positioning your Facebook ad, it asks you to include some of that. Now, with Facebook, with Audience Insights, you can actually create a custom audience directly from that Audience Insight page, if I'm not mistaken, right? Right, Mitch?
Yeah. So then, if you want to create the audience, you can narrow it down. Let's say you want fitness people that like Tony Horton, but you only want 18 to 25-year-olds. You can just limit it down to the 18 to 25-year-olds, or you can expand it into other countries. But then up at the top, then you'll just hit create new. Actually, you'll hit save. And then you can give that audience a name, something that you'll remember it, like maybe Tony Horton, 18 to 25. And you can just go through and create audience after audience after audience to then test which audience works best.
Yeah. Now I know this is like Facebook 401.
I got to show a picture.
Are there any simple questions? I mean, many of you are on Blab for the first time, which means maybe you're just not really understanding how to use Facebook, for instance, to generate revenue. Do you have any questions, more simplified questions about maybe positioning or branding or? Yeah, there it is. Like a fire hose, right? Dave, I know you appreciated the information, right? Because you can, you've related, you've already taken one of the courses that we teach. Any other questions? What other questions do you have going on? Sorry, Katie.
That's you. My audience, it's locked.
Do you have to have a business page in order to get into that, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mitch?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't go back.
Can you get into there from your personal page? Because I don't think they may have changed a few things the last week, but prior to the last few weeks, you couldn't run any Facebook ads directly from your personal page. You had to have a business page to do that. And so if you can't run Facebook ads from your personal page, then normally you would have to have a business page in order to get those insights.
Let me keep talking about other questions.
Play around with that for a minute.
Let me log into my wife's account and see.
Okay.
She does not.
Cool. Okay. Any other questions? Questions. Maybe one thing that I could share with you a little bit more about branding. I get the question all the time. Call now button. I'll get to that here in just a second. Welcome, Jonathan. So let's talk a little bit about branding on social media. One of the things you have to realize is that we're moving into a world of authenticity. Lacey, what's happening? We're moving into a world of authenticity where people are sick and tired of advertisements. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've been on social media lately, you'll see there's tons and tons and tons of sponsored ads on Facebook. And you might be ticking your audience off if you have a Facebook following and you're running advertisements to your Facebook page, to your Facebook business page, maybe a like campaign, and you just keep getting the same thing in front of the same people. So be careful with the content you're sharing and how you're positioning that and making sure that there is a level of authenticity in the process. And what do I mean by authenticity? Authenticity is about telling and sharing the story of you university, right? Telling who you are and what you do and how you do that. Creating structure behind what the storyline looks like. Creating a positioning strategy of, okay, if I'm going to tell a story, if I'm going to write a book, is there anybody here, if you've written a book or written like a blog before, click on these little hands on my window just to let me know if you've done something like that. I want to kind of get some context about the audience. Okay, so I have a few people that have written some blogs. Now, if you're writing a blog or you're putting some context into place, you need to make sure, just like there's structure to writing a blog, there's structure to building out your social media profile. There's structure to building out your social media concepts. And the way you create that is you come up with the 5 or 6 key fundamental principles that you believe in the most that help tell your story. And then those becomes your pillars that you build the value around. For example, we met with Katie. Again, Katie, I hope you're okay that if I use you as an example here, because it's a great segue into this. If you have, let's say you're a fitness facility. However, some of the key pillars of your business aren't necessarily related to the name of your company. The pillars are more about fitness classes or nutrition or so on and so forth. Well, we have to reverse engineer the context and get into the mind of the individuals that are looking at your page, that are looking to engage in your page, that are looking to create content, or that are looking to find content that's consumable by them and important to them. Now, let me try to restructure that. So you create a storyline using those 5 or 6 concepts, and then you share those in sequence, like as if it's chapters in a book, so that people can follow the start to the finish of your story. Does that make sense? How do I create the post organic and tell your story without spending hours with the content? Great question. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But guys, do you understand the context behind that of how you lay out the storyboard or how you lay out the storyline? As a matter of fact, if you look behind me over here, here is some content from what we did yesterday. So to give you proper perspective, here's the fitness world right here. And then we have 5 or 6 different ideas like motivation, nutrition, family atmosphere, knowledge and education, training that all play a part into the story, how the story is being told. And then you basically take, did you guys lose me? Mitch, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're not moving. Looks like you're adjusting your camera at the same time.
Didn't mean that. Okay, I'm gonna jump off. I'll jump back on. Hold on a second.
While he's getting off and getting back on, maybe I can just get back to that question about somebody said their audience was locked. So what you do if you have just a personal page, I was just answering the question from earlier while you were gone, Ryan. If you have just a personal page, you go to the same thing, go to the down arrow up by your notifications window, and instead of hitting manage ads, then hit create ads. And it'll take you through a process where you can either create an ad account, but if you don't even want to create an ad account, then you can do like the first process. It'll ask you, what is your objective? Just hit send people to a website, and then select a website to send it to. It really doesn't matter at this point. And then hit choose ad account. And then down on the bottom left-hand corner, you can hit close without saving. And that'll take you to Ads Manager, where you can go to tools and then audience insights. Or if you create an ad account, then that'll work. Did that make sense to everyone? All right, Linda. And Linda had the question from earlier. So it's kind of a roundabout way to get there if you don't have a business page. Well, it's only if you don't have an ad account. It doesn't matter if you have a business page. And then you can create ads from your personal account. There are some limitations if you don't have a business page. But I think there are some things you can do.
Mitch, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Can you see me now?
I can see you.
Katie, if you can't post to your business page from your personal page, one of the things you have to do when you go to your on your device is there's a drop-down menu. Let me show you here. I'll bring it up. So right here on your page, on the bottom corner, down here in the very bottom left, right down here, you click on that little page, and then it'll bring up the pages that you manage or your page. You click on the page, and then you go post it from there. So, okay, so back to, I'm not even sure where we got cut off, but create the context, lay the story out so that you're telling your story in a noisy social world. Because, I mean, listen, it's noisy, right? You go to Facebook, you could waste so much stinking time scrolling through Facebook all day long and get nowhere in your business.
It's the finger treadmill.
Yeah, it's like a treadmill. It's like a rat race, right? Going over and over and over and over again. But the idea is you want to become effective and efficient in the time that you're spending. So one of the questions that people ask me all the time is, okay, I've created a little bit of context behind my story, laying out my story on social media. Now what do I do? How do I attract people? How do I connect with people? How do I make money online, right? How do I take those business ideas that I have in the traditional space and integrate those into, in this case, since we're only talking all things Facebook, how do I integrate that into Facebook only? Well, first and foremost, you have to recognize that Facebook is not a spam world. It's a world of making authentic connections. So once you start to tell your story in a fashion that makes sense to the masses, and then you reverse engineer that to where people actually accept and understand what you're sharing, then you start to get likes and comments and shares, and then those get shared. And then when those engagements happen, please, please, please don't just think those are empty engagements. When somebody likes your post or comments on your post or shares your post, reach out to them and say, hey, listen, thanks for sharing my post. I really appreciate it. It's all about connecting with the individual. Now, I know it might sound overwhelming, and I'm not quite sure why my camera keeps going in and out. Mitch, can you still hear me? Shake your head if you can.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So it's not necessarily about all of the it's not about the number of engagements. So people are freaking out all the time like, I'm not getting 5,000 engagements and I have 6,000 friends on my page. It's about the quality of engagement, because the quality of the engagement is going to expand the organic reach. If you get a like on your page, that does a lot more for your organic reach than anything else does. If you get a comment on your post, then that's going to do a lot more for organic reach than worrying about, oh, I need to get this in front of 10,000 people, so I'm going to sponsor an ad and hopefully it works. It's all about those individualized engagements and capitalizing on those individualized engagements. So I know, Sherry, we've never connected in person, but I've followed you on social media, and if I'm not mistaken, you're in the real estate space, correct? So if I throw a post out there that correlates well and tells the story of real estate, of my real estate agency, if I were a real estate agent, tells the story of my real estate agency or me as an individual, and people start to engage with that. Maybe you're posting maybe you post yourself with a house that you're getting ready to list, right? And you get some engagements from that. Don't be afraid to reach out to those people who've liked it and say, hey, listen, thanks for liking my post. I really appreciate it. If you know of anybody, feel free to share it, because you're building brand equity in those engagements, and you're spurring more branding. You're spurring more engagements in the context of your post. Yeah, that's awesome. So what most people do, though, is they'll post it out there, and if they're not getting the engagements, they'll just go boost the post and spend money on it. Well, even boosting the post, people see that as a sponsored ad. You're not getting that same authentic engagement with those people that are part of your circle of influence. We still take this back. This social world is still part of the referral-based businesses, right? It's all about making a connection and finding the next connection and finding the next connection through people who can connect you together. And the more effectively you do that on social, the more vibrant your business will be. And not only the more vibrant your business will be, the more viral your post will go out. And as you create this virality on social media, Facebook's going to look at you and say, wow, this guy's getting great engagement, and they're going to increase the amount of reach on every post that you push out there. Maybe some of you have noticed this, right? Have you lately seen that post that says, I just finally realized that it's like 2 years ago, guys. I finally realized that Facebook is only doing 1 to 4% reach. So will you post an emoji in my comments so that I get better reach? I mean, guys, don't beg people for business, for crying out loud. It's so cheesy and so tacky. Create content that people want to engage with already, because once they've engaged with your content, then it's going to go viral. And you don't have to beg, because the more you beg, people are going to look at you like a beggar. I'm not saying it's a bad thing by any means, that you don't want to be on a social media platform trying to beg people to come and be part of your business. Remember, it's a concept of attraction marketing. You have to do some work on the front end to create qualified content in order to provide really, really good content on the back end. Now, there was a question, Ty. Hey, buddy, hope you're still with us, Ty. You asked a question earlier, a couple influencers to follow. It's a quick answer. A couple that I recommend. Number one is the man of the hour, Frank Kern. Number two is Rick Mulready. When it comes to all things Facebook ads, I've learned so much from that guy. He's brilliant. Amy Porterfield's a fun one to follow. Jill and Josh Stanton, they've been really cool to follow. They've created a really cool community called the Screw to 9 to 5 community. But all things internet marketing based and social, there's some awesome content there. If you're just really trying to learn, one of my all-time favorites, he's rough around the edges, but you will learn more from this guy than probably anybody you can ever follow, a guy by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. He is a brilliant social media guy. Unbelievable Gary V. I could listen to that guy all day. Mitch, you want to? Or I'll type it in here. Gary Vaynerchuk. He does what they call the Ask Gary V show on YouTube and on YouTube, on podcast. His content's freaking awesome. Absolutely love it. Gary V, he actually wrote a book. If you want to get a starter's guide for social media, go to Ask Gary, or the Ask Gary V book is unbelievably brilliant. But there's another one that's a little bit more basic. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook, written by Gary Vaynerchuk as well. So really good starting points. I know, Shelby, I know you'll appreciate that because you're just getting started with social as well. I'm super glad you're on here. I think you'll learn a few things. But so those are a couple things that I would suggest. Now, there was another question that Katie asked earlier. Katie, where are you? How do you create posts that are that organic and tell your story without spending hours on the content? I know you're going to love this answer because of our dialogue yesterday. Pinterest. How many of you are Pinterest users right now? Mitch, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Not a lot of Pinterest users, apparently.
How do you get your followers to engage and interact with your post? Andrew, great question. You reverse engineer the content so that people actually pay attention to what you're sharing. Do the work, man. Do the work of creating engaging content so they want to engage with you. And just recognize that some people won't. You have to tell your story. I know you're coming in a little bit late in the game, and we've talked about telling your story on social media, but you have to create a storyline and be consistent in the content that you're sharing and posting. And in that process, as you're sharing that content via social, then it'll resonate. I mean, there's a demographic and a target for everything. So if your content's edgy memes, find out the demographic, create a group or go inside of groups and engage with the right type of people, create those to be your followers, invite them to your page, and then let them engage.
I listened to a podcast, Ryan, about a guy that his brand, his thing, when he first started on Twitter, and he started at the very beginning of Twitter, was like controversial quotes. He said there was like a lot of people. Oh, Ryan left again. There's a lot of people that were posting like inspirational quotes. There's a lot of people that were posting quotes from books. This guy, he was like, I'm just going to post stuff that's kind of controversial. It's going to make a lot of people mad, but a lot of people are going to agree with me. And Andrew, I mean, I don't know what your edgy memes are. And some people, I guarantee you there will be some people that don't agree with you, but there's going to be a lot of people that do. And you want to attract the people that agree with you anyway. You don't want to attract the haters. You want to keep them away from you and attract the people that agree with you and that are like-minded with you.
and engage with them. Reach out and make those authentic connections and send a friend request and have a conversation with them. I mean, literally just grow together, come together. I mean, I hope that makes sense. Okay. Jay-Z, what's up, buddy? Nice to have you on the Blab, my man. You could talk all things internet marketing. You could blow us all away with your knowledge. Okay, so back to man, I don't know how we got Jay-Z. So this James Zolman, guys, if you haven't followed him, I know he's just new to Blab, but make sure you follow this guy. He's legit. Everybody click and give him some love. Give him some follows up here on the top window. If you just highlight over his name, click follow. It's unbelievable. This guy's absolutely brilliant, genius. Anyway, okay, so
we're not nice enough, James.
Not nice enough. This guy knows his stuff. So, Katie, back to Pinterest. When you formulated the story that you want to tell via social media, once you've done that, go create boards with that content and then type in the search bar, nutrition ideas. And then it's going to pull up nutrition ideas and just go look and see how often it's been pinned and repinned and how many hearts it's received. And then paste that to your Facebook page or paste that to your board, right? And then repurpose that content for the post that you're going to share on social media. It's going to save you hours and hours and hours and hours of time.
Katie asked about sharing from Pinterest. What you want to do, Katie, is actually – so Pinterest always comes from a website. Go to the original website and then just share the link. Don't like Pinterest, you can hit share to Facebook. Don't do that. Go straight to the source and then share it from the source and add value too. Like, let's say it's a recipe or something, then say like, I made this recipe and it was awesome. You guys got to make this, something like that. And so then it becomes, even though you didn't make that recipe or you didn't create the recipe, it becomes yours because you made the food for yourself and you're telling your story about it.
Yeah, great insight. The more you can go to the original source for the information you're sharing, the better. But repurpose that content so that you make it you, right? Don't plagiarize it, don't copyright it, but just make it you and put a little bit of the you factor into it. So you're still telling the story in your own language, but then just reflecting back to it. Now, the best thing you can possibly do, and I'm sure James will appreciate this, is the best thing you can possibly do is create that authentic content on your page, in your blog. But if you don't have the time, or you don't feel like you have the time to do that, the second best thing would be to go and create just to repurpose some content that's already out there. So there was another question. If you're just beginning, I'll need to start with a business page then, right? No. If you're just beginning, build your story, create your story, and build your story through your personal page. Now, if you want to create a business page, one of the only reasons that I created a business page is because I was getting close to 5,000 friends, and 5,000 friends is the max. And so I wanted to create a business page so I could lead people there. And the content that's shared there is a little bit different than on my personal page, but a lot of it's the same as well. So if your story is the same, whether it's on your personal page or on your business page, utilize your personal page. And the best and the fastest way to get organic followers on your business page is by inviting your friends to your business page. I mean, you can pay to do a like campaign, but if you're going to pay to do a like campaign, it's going to be empty dollars spent. I mean, you might get more followers, but if you haven't told your story on your business page, then you're going to miss out completely on the true value of a follower. Does that make sense?
I think she was also asking about that in the context of the audience insights that we were talking about, but you can still look at the audience insights without having a business page. Just have to have an ad account.
If you invited when your page was lame, Sherry, then people aren't going to stay. I mean, it's just the reality, right? We've all been to that page. We've all liked a page just because somebody invited us to like a page. And you look at the page and you're like, ugh, really? Or in the real estate space, I'm going to be a little bit harsh here, Sherry, but in the real estate space, you go to a page and all they're doing is posting listing after listing after listing after listing. And you're like, come on. Like, don't do that. That provides no value. It's a push marketing strategy that doesn't work on social media. It really doesn't.
And you can always make more friends.
Do it consistently.
You can always make more friends and invite your new friends.
That's right. I'm glad your page is rocking. I won't go do an analysis on it, Sherry, because then I might I might give you some positive reinforcement. James, your page is pretty lame. I'm not going to lie. Totally kidding, buddy. That was harsh. No, your page might be lame, but I tell you, the information and the knowledge you have is incredible. Incredible.
James just needs to share some of what he knows on his page. Then his page won't be lame anymore.
If James started sharing the type of information that he knows on his page, he'd be the next Frank Kern in no time. Alex, welcome, my man. Nice to have you. Okay, any other questions, guys, about all things Facebook? I mean, we're about 30 minutes in. We can keep rocking and rolling this thing. I mean, you've got Mitch and I. We, like I said, for those of you that are just jumping on, we own and operate a strategic social media consulting business called Strategic Social Partners. You're welcome to connect with us at strategicsocialpartners.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a webinar tomorrow night, just as a quick shout out for all things, those of you that are in the home-based business space. I teach network marketers, home-based business owners all the time how to use social media to make more money. So if you want to join us, you're welcome to opt into our little landing page, if you will. It's called workwithryanharris.com/NM webinar. I'll throw it here in the messages, but happy to take more questions, guys, if you want.
I got it, Ryan.
Thanks, Mitch. You can click on that and come learn a little bit more about what we're doing.
And I even spelled it right.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. We learned a lot in that process, didn't we? You should. We can do some great things for you. Create some online programs that you can write the sales funnels for. All right, who can I pick on next? Alex, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how we can help you. I'm going to look at your profile here. Guitar player. Smoking hot wife. Awesome. Live streamer. Teach us a little bit about what you know social media-wise, how we can help you. Who else is with us here? DJ. Talk to us. PRM support. Who else? Shelby, question. Do you have a question for us that we can answer for you? Carrie, nice to have you with us, of course. Katie. Shoot, Katie's got 15 followers already. Go, Katie. Ty, questions? Yeah,
I don't even think I have 15 followers on Twitter.
Mitch has got his little daughter screaming in the background, so that's how we roll. Listen, we run a business from home, and we just work from home, and we do our thing, right?
Does it? When I mute myself, does it work? I keep muting myself on and off.
So mute yourself, and I'll tell you if it's working. Yeah, works fine. Okay, so let's talk about another question that we get a lot, Mitch, and I'll let you jump in and share some ideas. How do you join Blab? You just did. For team meetings. Oh, you can do all sorts of cool things. Team meetings on here, and just start your own Blab. It's pretty cool. Yeah, staff, same thing. Mitch, what's a question that we get all the time when it comes to social media? How do you take what is a business page? What does that look like? Yeah, it is free, Katie. Mitch, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so why in the world would I do any sort – if Facebook's a pull marketing strategy, why in the world would I advertise on Facebook?
Why would I advertise on Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, because it's a lot cheaper than other places of advertising, for one. For two, you can still use – I mean, really the difference between advertising versus organic reach is just paying. It's not necessarily the content that you're posting. You can make an ad that you're paying for, and it can still be very similar content that we've been talking about, the attraction marketing type of content to bring people to you. It'll get it to more people. We're running an ad right now that's reaching a couple thousand people a day, which you will never do organically unless you were one of the big guys that have been on Facebook for a long time, like the Robert Kiyosaki's, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. Those pages get a lot of organic engagement. But other than that, the organic isn't going to happen right now. So if you have a good message, then the advertising just helps your good message, your good stuff to get out there more.
What if I'm trying to find, let's say, back to Katie's idea, I own a gym. How in the world do I reach my customers? What do you say? How do you do that? We talked about creating a custom audience already, and for some of you that are coming on a little bit later, we'll kick out this recording so you can watch it. But how do you connect with them? I mean, there's so many different platforms, right? I can go run a radio ad, I can run a TV ad, I can run a newspaper ad, I can run a Thrifty Nickel ad, I can run a Facebook ad, I can do Google AdWords, I can do SEO, I can do all of that. What's my best guess when it comes to how I really get in front of my target demographic?
Well, you got to start thinking about who is your target demographic. If you're going after 70, 80-year-old grandmas, then maybe social media is not the perfect place to be to advertise. Maybe that is when you want to do TV ads, because they don't even know how to fast forward through the commercials that all of us know how to do. But if you're looking for the younger people, don't do TV. I don't even have satellite or cable, because we don't have time to watch it. For two, there's so much other content to consume on YouTube, Netflix. So we're not going to see those TV commercials. If you're trying to reach a 25-year-old like me, TV is not going to work. Radio, I mean, there's Pandora now. There's podcasts.
Hold on. I got to tell a story. Mitch, I got to tell a story. So I went on vacation with my family, right? I have a 9-year-old, a almost 7-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old, okay? We went to a hotel, and a really nice hotel. We're staying there, and my 4-year-old wakes up one morning. I'm just giving you some context, but I wake up one morning, and my son goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to watch Paw Patrol." So Paw Patrol's for those of you that don't know, it's like a little cartoon. They have these little dogs that run around and save the day and save the world. And I said to him, "Son, we can't watch Paw Patrol. It's not recorded." And he's like, looked at me like, "What?" I don't understand. And I had this epiphany, this light bulb went off in my head that these little kids, like literally these little kids, like these 8 to 0-year-olds have no idea what the TV experience even is. They're watching Netflix. They're watching DVR events. They've never even watched commercials. I mean, my daughter was like, Dad, I want to fast forward through the commercial, but I can't. Why doesn't it let me? They've never watched live TV before, with the exception like sporting events when we're all together. So you have to understand, like Mitch is saying, just to make a point there, you have to understand where your target demographic is and where their attention is. Listen, we're not fighting for who's better or what's better. We're fighting for attention. We're fighting for where are people's attention. Keep going, Mitch. Sorry, I just had to interject there for a minute. I thought that was a funny story. Big aha moment for you.
That is a funny story. Literally, the younger people do not watch live TV anymore. Some people will listen to radio, but there's so many other things going on that you're fighting for the attention. So where's their attention? Most often they are on social media. And so you just got to think about your demographic. Are they on social media? And is that going to be the best place to advertise for you? A lot of times it probably is. And me and Ryan might be a little biased in that way. But yeah, does that answer your question that you had earlier, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, one of the key things you have to understand is once you understand your target demographic, like we talked about earlier, when you identify where your audience insights are, then you need to identify where your marketing budget is, because it might be the best thing. I sat here just before this meeting and I was talking to a guy who's a radio ad salesman. And we were talking, and he opened up my eyes to the context of radio. I know James is big on radio and has created a few programs and a few businesses when it comes to radio. And it opened up my eyes because I realized that there really are still people that are listening to radio. And so it really depends on your target demographic and then how much you're willing to spend to reach and to get in front of it. I mean, it's all about attention first and foremost, but it's also all about impressions. And what he told me is it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio radio wise. If I want to get impressions, Alex, what's happening? Man, nice to have you. If I want to get impressions, then I'm gonna have to spend $1 for every impression. Well, Mitch, I pulled up the information or our ad that we're running right now, and we had over 16,800 impressions for $60. So when it comes to high quality content and getting it located in the right place, Facebook is an unbelievable way to do that. Get that exposure out there. Now, does it mean that it's all engagements? No, but I think we had, Mitch, if I'm not mistaken, over 300 clicks to the website link. You're muted.
Yeah, last time I looked, it was over 300 clicks a couple hours ago.
For a $65 ad. I mean, there's not very many ways that you can create a target and get in front of your target like you can on Facebook. Alexander, yeah, I 100% agree. Facebook ads are one of the cheapest ways to get in front. Now, Ty brings up another really good question, though. He brings up another really good question, though, of, okay, what do you do when you create these ads? And I think that's in my conversation with this gentleman that I was talking to just a few minutes ago. I said, you go in and you say, okay, well, we can run a radio ad to your website, but then what do you do? What's the conversion process like? If you're saying, hey, come like our Facebook page in the radio ad, what happens once they get to Facebook? What is that user experience? How do you create a user experience so people can correlate with who you are and what you do? And Ty, that goes back to the sales funnel process of you need to make sure that the messaging you're sharing is not only in your attractive voice or the voice that I call the attractive character voice of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, but it also correlates directly with what they need. How do you pre-frame the content to meet the needs of the target market? How do you write the sales copy to get to that point? And then once you have them to that point, what is that process? Am I asking what's the call to action? What am I asking people to do? What ultimately is the end game? What's the end goal? And how can we create value specifically for that person? And that's a whole nother animal. We'll cover sales funnel at a different time. Conversion is really dependent on your landing pages. unless of course you have a call to action directly from Facebook, right? But Facebook doesn't really like when you direct things directly to a buy now button outside of Facebook. They don't give you as much organic reach in the process. What they do like, however, is if you create a blog post that has content that will redirect links to your buy page on your website, because then they feel it's more authentically built. And then that authenticity Facebook likes, and they'll give you a little more organic reach in that. But again, it's all about creating more authenticity. It's creating value through the message you're sharing, whether it's a story on social media, whether it's a story on your website, and keep that authentic character or that attractive character voice similar on all of your platforms, so you're not so there's not a disconnect between one or the other. Does that make sense, Ty? Hopefully that answered your question. Great question. PRM support. If you're trying to tell us a little bit more about the type of client that you're talking through, and then maybe we can give you a little bit of insight. What space are they in? What's their target demographic? Because you may want to build your social media platforms in the form of Instagram a lot quicker, utilizing current hashtags that are happening versus using Facebook. Now, Facebook obviously is the best way to connect with people very quickly. So pharmacies. So you have a pharmacy that's trying to build out a followership as quickly as possible, right? Mitch, what have you learned? Why don't you share some ideas here? Anybody else can share some ideas as well, guys. This is a great support community where we can help each other out. But what would you say, Mitch?
I would say on Facebook specifically, the fastest pages to grow are going to be a passion-based page. So if you can find out, it's kind of hard with a pharmacy because
I love narcotics, baby.
Maybe I love narcotics would work, but I don't know. I don't think I would like that page personally. So I don't know. There's different people than me. But think about a passion-based page that might work for the pharmacies. Another way is creating Alex Kahn said earlier, Facebook is an ATM if you can get the segmentation, retargeting, and sales funnels right. And that will be an extremely quick way. If you can have a sales funnel that is profitable, then just like Alex said, it's an ATM at that point. The more money you put in, the more money you get out, but you get a bigger social media following at the same time. But I can tell you the way not to do it, it's definitely not going to be posting about the latest facts about drugs and medicines, because who wants to read like the fact sheets? They're probably like 100 pages long. And attention spans of people these days, it's just not going to happen. So you're going to want to post out content that is relevant to the people that also happen to purchase prescription medications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how many of you have ever heard of passion pages before? Just curious. Alex, I'm sure you have, my man. Thanks for being on with us, by the way. Quite an influencer. Jump over and follow Alex if you haven't yet. I know he can share some pretty great content here as well. So, okay, so passion pages are really the idea. Now, if you look at business pages, the authenticity of business pages is just changing a little bit. So a passion page is a great way to do that. Great way to do that. And I was on I was listening to Social Media Examiner. Let's see, it was the online version of it. Who was that? John Loomer, right? Mitch, is that the right guy who was talking about passion pages?
Yeah, I think so.
So John Loomer was talking about the context of creating a community-based movement or a social proofing concept utilizing a passion context on a business page. And I'll tell you, I did one just for the fun of it. So I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho, and I created an I Love Idaho Falls page. And within a matter literally of about 2 weeks, I had over 700 people that have liked the page. Now, if I would have built a business page and I didn't even ask any of my friends to like the page, I went into communities, I went into groups, and I said, hey, local groups here locally, buy, sell, trade groups. And I said, hey, here's a really cool new page. Come like it for all things Idaho Falls. and once I did that, once I put that together, it was really cool because people were just liking the page like crazy, and I was getting some really, really cool organic reach on the page, and I wasn't paying for any of it. Now, back to growing your team fast. PRM support. Back to growing your page fast. Another couple ideas that I might think about is going inside of groups. Groups can be a really, really cool context to build value. Check out So go into these communities, even as your business page, and post value inside of the business pages that those people inside of that specific group might resonate well with. Okay, so for instance, here's what not to do. If you're talking about health and nutrition and nutraceuticals, don't go post inside of there, hey, here's the newest drug for XYZ. It's not going to do you any good. What you can do then, though, is you can go share some ideas about maybe some nutraceutical context inside of there coming from your page, and maybe it's a product that you sell through your pharmacy. Right? Most pharmacies have nutraceuticals on top of prescription medications. So build the context so people will come to you as that source, as that resource. Does that make sense?
There's also going to be,
I agree, Alex. Put together a retargeting pixel on your website to see who's actually coming to take a look at what you're doing. I know it's pretty technical, but put together a pixel on your website and then have at it, man. Just see what the target demographic is or the audience is that's coming into it. Great insights. Alex, if you want to jump on to an open seat, man, we'd love to have you on here and chatting with us. I can tell you can share some really cool concepts and insights to this audience. So you're welcome to join us if you want, or anybody else is. There's an open seat. There's 2 open seats left. How do you get people just intrigued without jumping your throat? I was on Facebook. They asked about protein, and I did not give them the name of the company. And that is when they jumped me all about it. Talking to the wrong person. If they're grumpy. Oh, one insight that I might share with you, because we're close to the political realms. I mean, if you want to create some animosity inside of your Facebook page, post everything that you want about religion, everything you want about politics. But I tend to stay away from religion and politics simply because I don't want to create anything too controversial on my page, because then I'm going to push people away that I might want to be on my page. Hopefully that makes sense.
I think it can work for some people, though. I mean, some people, their brand is being controversial, you know. But for other people,
That's
like
true.
you want to be known as a more positive, upbeat, good person, not necessarily controversial in creating arguments. But
Yeah.
it works for some people.
Yeah, James had another really good idea for you, PRM. If it's a local business page, throw a few offers out there in the physical store for likes. Yeah. You bet, Alex. Nice to have you with us. Yeah, or you know, have them like, or there's actually some offers that you can throw out there. Have them claim an offer of some sort. We ran a really cool campaign working with James with one of our clients where we did a large number volume of sales for an ebook. It was cool. But we did it. We ran it through some offline stuff in James's brilliant sales funnel email marketing side. And then we also generated some of the revenue through social, directly through social. So
you can also look around Audience Insights and see what there is about people and conditions that they might have. Last night, one time we actually were watching TV online, then a commercial popped up for a diabetes medication of some sort. And I thought to myself, I sat there thinking, all right, my wife is watching Once Upon a Time. Why in the world do these people think that I have diabetes? I mean, there's no correlation from Once Upon a Time to diabetes. But there might be something in the Facebook Audience Insights that you can find for some specific medication. I don't know because I haven't looked, but you can look around for stuff like that too.
good insights. Oh, that's great.
That could be Ty.
Very nice to have you, G. Glad you joined us. Any other questions, guys? We've been running here for almost an hour. We'll be jumping off because Mitch and I have to get to another appointment with one of our clients. But any other last questions? Any last thoughts that we can share with you?
Well, I like all the questions.
If you want to begin using Blab, just click Start Using Blab. I mean, you should be logged in either through your Twitter account, through your Facebook account. And then once you've logged in, it'll say there's a button you can click to say Start a Blab, and it'll help you start right away. Linda, I think you could do some really cool things with your food storage stuff here. Yeah, with preparedness. Yeah, we recorded the discussion. We did, and I'll end the recording here in just a minute, and then normally it saves it, and it gives us a direct URL link so you can come back to it. So aloha, nice to have you. We're just finishing up on all things Facebook. We had a really great conversation with lots of cool things. Targeting, retargeting. Hey, guys, listen, if you liked the content, give us some shout-outs here. Not that we're begging for shout-outs, but give some props.
But help me catch up to Ryan.
That's how we did. Loves props. If it was worth your time, we're going to start doing these more frequently.
I passed you.
Good job, Mitch.
Wow.
You deserve it, buddy. You deserve it. Look at him. Nail. Boom. I'll give you some more props, Mr. Mitch.
It's all from
It's kind of like this show reminds me of, for those of you that are ESPN watchers, like Around the Horn. You ever watched that where if they say something good, you give them props? You know, it's like the click, 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 click. So anyway, listen, guys, one last quick shout out. Tomorrow night, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time, we're going to be doing a presentation on all things social media. You're welcome to come join us. www.workwithryanharris.com/NM webinar. Tomorrow night, love to have you join us. And it'd be great to have you with us. We'd love to learn more about who you are, what you're doing, and how we can help you with your business. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And we'll be back again. Shoot, I think we start doing this every day. This is a blast. Of course, we might run out of information, right, Mitch?
I don't know. People asked a lot of questions. I was worried about that today. But
it was good.
We kept
PRM support, awesome. Nice to have you with us. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording for now. Thanks, guys. Take care.